You return to the wagon after having prevailed against the accusers in the liberation. Tizo wishes Pamitha a safe journey home. Safe travels to you, Pamitha. The rest of us await the day of our reunion on the other side. You succeeded in liberating Pamitha, who returned to the Commonwealth in glory. The last light of the stars still shines for us above. At this point, what is to become of our plan needn't be the subject of our speculation. I trust that we'll learn the outcome soon enough. Our plan, which is at 91%! Our actions to this point shall pave the way. Perhaps our faith as well. So let's for now focus on this. We stand upon the brink of the last turn of the cycle of the rites. Soon we'll have a final chance to get one of you home. Now, reader, up for a little stargazing. Let's see where the downside. Let's see where in the downside we shall be returning for these final rites. You turn back toward the darkness to look upon the last few stars, too stubborn to relinquish their light. Scribe stars yet burn for you atop the sacred mountain to determine where they lead. See, even this looks not as nice right now. That's how I know my microphone settings are pretty solid right now, because I was just talking to my dog for a couple minutes there, and my microphone didn't pick up anything because I was across the room. Let's go. Okay, where are we gonna go? Who are we fighting? What does Volford's planner say? I cannot stop thinking about what should happen if we fail, less so to those of us who remain trapped here, but rather to those who return to the Commonwealth. We need to try and avoid the, oh, they're just knocked out permanently. Ooh. Hello. Where is she? Let's go to Sir Deluge. Once more you are to face the Pyre Hearts, then. Although I wonder. He hesitates before saying anything further. You cannot sense his thoughts. I apologize. I was lost in thought there. For a moment. Let us make way for the Cairn of Haub. I keep going to the Cairn of Haub, but everyone is feeling more refreshed as much as possible. Who wants to chit-chat? What's up, Sir Geek? I had to read a book first. On Legacy. In the words of Trieste Tithys, the Blessed Born. Reader, though you shall always bear a burden, it is much lighter than the burden of a lonesome exile. Go forth and become free. Then, join with others such as you and lead, with mercy, continuing to demonstrate your worth, and knowing that the Empire's fall formed the foundation of our Commonwealth. You shall cease to be a reader and become a voice both to the free and to your successors here, who shall take up this book when you no longer need it. The cycle of the rites shall see to it that you, and others like you, shall be liberated ere the coming of another age. May the stars shine ever brightly on us all. Ooh, a pearl. The solar shell, the sparkly thing in its center, is in fact its heart, which it airs out from time to time. It keeps thick from the Sea of Solace. Only a monster would attempt to remove the heart or would have the strength. Okay, good. I can only touch it. Ooh, it's all red. Clink, clink. Okay. Keepsake. Any other keepsakes that they're shiny? Okay. Following Pamitha's liberation, the lonesome minstrel has returned to the wagon and stands as though nothing has happened here this night. He tilts his head a bit as you approach. Once more, the Nightwings have prevailed in the liberation rite under your mindfulness, reader. A commendable achievement. Surely Pamitha shall live out her days in gratitude to you and your companions. Perhaps she may now seek Ruki there in your Commonwealth. I should think Ruki would have liked to witness what took place this night. I trust that together they shall make a formidable difference to the plan which all of you endeavor to achieve. Now for the time, Celeste and I are to return to our respective stations. We all await the next turn of the cycle of the rites. May you prevail once more when we next traverse Scribe's Gate. Until then, reader, rest well under the stars. He nods and leaves you to recover after a long night. guess we toddle away now. I don't remember it being this red after the rites. It is daybreak. You are to set forth now for the Cairn of Hell for what appears to be the final time. Thereafter you shall return here for one last exile's final chance at liberty. Then who do I send home? Wolfred? Gertrude? Izo? Oh, what the bloody blazes? Barker notices your wagon at his flank there and begins to laugh. Well, if it isn't the Nightwings flaunting their fancy little flying wagon, eh? You think you're better than us mates, eh? Ah, you ain't better than the dung I stepped in last night. Now get on out of here. I've mind to leap out over there and rip your gizzards out, you hear me? Ugh. All the way down. And all the way back. Go with Bertrude. Who cares what Sir Deluge is doing? Let us survey the shunt. Having reached the shunt, you decide to accompany Bertrude for a walk among the barren wastes. Your conversation soon turns to matters of the rites, which you discuss at length. Thou seest hidden truths within this ancient contest. We can see it plain. By the time you return to the wagon, you sense she gained a deeper understanding of it all. Caused Bertrude to gain enlightenment. That's nice. She's so close. What's up, Bertrude? You notice Bertrude studying the Beyonder crystal. She sets it down as you approach. The mouthy wraith rebuketh our attempt to summon her. She insisteth that we are too young to understand. She must be referring to Sandra. Seems that Bertrude may be able to invoke her. Stubborn, that one. Possessing of an ancient understanding, old in ways and old in times. Many centuries of history, knowledge of the 8 scribes themselves, held captive there within that green-tinged stone, within that wraith's own memories. Would that we could extract them in some way. Perhaps thou couldst induce the wraith's obedience, reading one. For she heedeth not. She claimeth obligations unto only thee, although... She stops and thinks very carefully. The Beyonder crystal is not to be tampered with. Your fellow exiles know that its use is at your sole discretion. She backs away from you, still thinking to herself. Ignorest thee our inquiries about this, reading one. Our reasoning has taken us elsewhere. Her refusal to cooperate is like to be an ancient warning of some sort. 'Tis possible that others of the southern bogs know something of her, but we shall not be tampering further with such sorceries ourselves. That the wraith refuseth to cooperate suggesteth her predicament is suitably deserved. He heads out in a huff, but just as the air grows still and quiet, you sense something from the Beyonder crystal. Mouthy wraith, she says. Can you believe it, reader? Ah, to be so young and foolish again. Sandra the Unseeing laughs to herself. Your proximity to the Beyonder crystal must have been sufficient to invoke her in this case. That crone of yours is far too curious, I think. But it appears that even she has learned her lesson in this case. Thank the stars I am beholden to no more than one among you Nightwings at a time, and thank the stars that happens to be you rather than her. And if that crone attempts to lay her fingers on my Beyonder crystal again, I shall just have to torment her dreams till she's my age. Do feel free to mention that if it comes up. Now farewell. You know where to find me, lovely reader. She vanishes. It seems that Sandra proved resistant to Bertrude's tampering. If so much history is trapped within the Beyonder crystal, there it shall remain for the foreseeable future. But can we chit-chat? Let me in. Whatever. Let's continue our journey. Go to the Cairn of Hell. Let's fight the Worm Knights. What's up, my mans? Guys, can't help but wondering whatever happened to that number with the wings, you know? The one? I guess she's kind of pretty. Maybe, I suppose. She's still around by chance? Because, well, anyways. As a big one. Oh no, I just can't upgrade that. That's it. Oh, I meant to give them that. Lamo. I'll hold on to that, it's fine. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Let's go fight some worms. After making all the necessary preparations amid the desolate sprawl of the cairn of Haub, you and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It is quieter even than usual at the onset of such events. The lone minstrel appears, bearing some sort of news. I have checked, and it appears as though the Pyre hearts have not yet arrived, reader. There is no sign of Sir Deluge or anyone. Their sigil is not set either. What he says is true, and your adversaries are not present, then you presume the rite cannot commence. However, the stars themselves soon indicate you are mistaken. My boy Orlick, he come for vengeance.
The Commonwealth, your home.
I'm sure it's fine.
Today it is aflame, much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you, because of your outlandish plan.
I'm sure it's fine.
Not that you care, not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed.
You're right.
But by all means, keep trying.
Not about that.
As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
But you're right. I won't live to see that Commonwealth again. Because I'm the reader, and the reader can't be liberated. The rite is set to commence, but your adversaries, they have failed to show. We take this for an act of acceptance rather than cowardice. 'Twould seem the rites have nothing left to offer them. Indeed. As the rites are drawing to a close, some of the triumvirates whom you have met, perhaps they are beginning to decide the stars are not worth heeding any longer. Sir Deluge, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. He lacks in courage, that much is certain, though his desire to prove his competence did seem to spur him on. In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, and so I ask that we end it.
Choose now, your band of traitors.
Got us.
Bertrude. Correct. Tizo. The choice is cast.
Tizo seems rather melancholy about having to conduct a raid against no adversary.
Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you. And it is done.
I wonder if he would have chatted more.
The Nightwings prevail by default. Not that their adversaries even care.
My only hope is that our would-be adversaries find some peace.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes. Be Be gone now from my sight.
I wonder what the insight would have showed me for. Alas, I'll never know. No one speaks further of the Pyre hearts back at the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the rite that is to come. Tizo can scarce believe this is to be the final opportunity to liberate one of your own. I'm afraid so. Our plan is an imperfect one, yet here we are, faced with this vital opportunity. He looks over to you. Reader, my kin, please go see for yourself. I think we all know where we are headed next, and I suspect I know whom we shall face when we arrive. Who could have foreseen? The others turn to you as well. You turn toward the wagon's door. You know what you shall see out there. Now, however, the time has come to face it. The dim and fading light of the final star still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you toward the endpoint of your path. You plane the golden star of Solium. But who on earth do I send? Yep. What's up, Orlick? Dorcas. Do I just let Orlick go? You are summoned to the fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. You sense that, if the rites ever shall commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime or that of any of your companions, even the longest-lived ones. The stars reveal to you one thing more. The adversary whom you face shall be Orlick. Already he has crossed Scribe's Gate and awaits your arrival. If the 8 scribes created the Nightwings in their own likeness, perhaps it is only fitting that the Nightwings should, in the end, be forced to face themselves. Orlick, curse this damnable cycle that it must pit us against him in this, our final chance. Let us retire for the night. We shall not have many chances more for rest before our journey's ended. The group disperses as exhaustion sets in. At dawn, you fly to Mount Elodial to make a final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? I don't know. I was really hoping I was gonna have to have a challenge of fighting.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot.
You got big shoulders.
They are exploiting you.
Yowie shoulders.
You shall never have your freedom.
I know, dude. I understand that by being the reader. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for them. By dawn, you are already up and about after a troubled slumber. The Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Solium. No one speaks. As you lift into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play this song with the Nightwings? Sure. You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. He begins without another word.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs.
The world's on fire, too.
Shall be there. All are not the same, but 3 shall be as one. Freedom in flame. The end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make a braid. Together on their own, the journey shall be made.
We touch down amid the quiet solitude of Mount Elodial to make pilgrimage. Why did the music? Okay, I was like, why did the music just stop? To make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you were a part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. After having landed, you join Bertrude on an expedition to the monument of Jomir Many-Mane for what is likely to be the final time. We beseech ye, ancient gods of the last age, and we invoke thine aid. We have traveled far to gain this summit many times, and stood steadfast with our compatriots who seek to leave this place. We now offer ye our services eternally, if you would grant us such a boon as to ensure our triumph in the coming night. Long would we serve ye, O ancient gods, should ye accept our offer here and now. Soon she is finished, you return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Jomir Many-Mane has shown you favor. At dawn you shall begin your last ascent. For now your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. Bertrude gained +2 presence. Let's mentor Bertrude. Let us then discuss these matters which you believe should be of benefit. You ask Bertrude to explain to you in her own words of the histories of the 8 scribes and speak to how their varied backgrounds form the basis not just of the rites, but of the Commonwealth. Yep, there's our final mastery. Long have we sought to fathom all the darkest secrets hidden by the light of the stars. Now at last, the stars themselves revoke their station in the night, and we have finally achieved an inkling of this. I'm gonna do this one. I want to be faced. Perhaps not all the wisdom of the scribes lies buried in that tome of thine. A messenger imp somehow tracks you down in the fading glory of Mount Elodial and delivers to you recent news and rumors from the other side. Specifically, the imp shares details regarding Pamitha and what became of her since she was liberated at the fall of Solium. She found herself back in the homeland of her enemies where, despite her connection to the Highwing remnants, her past transgressions were forgiven. In fact, she was asked to join the military council given her unique background. Yet she refused to cooperate and instead demanded to be reunited with her sister Tamitha. But when they threatened her with a resentencing to exile and insisted that she take the opportunity, Pamitha said at last that she would think it over and return with a decision soon. Next she was seen, however, was among Volfred's sons and daughters of the Revolution, where it is said she is attached to her loyalty, at least for the time. You thank the imp for bringing you this news, which soon gets your companions talking. I hold to hope that both the Thayan sisters one day soon shall join together as part of our good cause. The two of them can help lead us toward a brighter future. We suspect the ancient enmity between the winged and the flightless shall not be soon resolved, if ever at all. Tizo's wishes for Pamitha to find her way and her sister in the Commonwealth. In spite of some mixed feelings, the news of Pamitha's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with resolve. We have one hope for the next rite. You stand before the scribe's gate with your companions. The gate guardian is there as ever, but you sense something different with her. The exiles of the Nightwings. We shall not meet again after the coming rite. Tariq and I, it shall be time we take our rest, I think. Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I am uncertain anyone amongst us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq. And then what, Celeste? And then nothing, not for the rites or us. Not till the dawn of a new age. Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what is it that you seek whilst crossing Scribe's Gate. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step. Tizo believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. My name is Volfred Sandalwood. I long as yet to see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. Finally, you step forth once more. You, a common wanderer who vowed to help their friends be free again, and who managed to come this far with this group. The Gate Guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway toward the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except for you, Tariq. You stay right there. I thought you said. The rites are not yet ended, Tariq. He looks to her, then over to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The Gate Guardian and the Lone Minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. Bye. You've gained the summit of Mount Elodial for the 7th time, the final time in which any one of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. The Beyonder Crystal seeks me. Hey guys. I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know, what with the stars all fading out and stuff. Anyways, just wanted to say you guys are great, and I sure am gonna miss having you guys as customers and all that. But I got some good news, though, too. All my stuff, it's all on sale now, and I will throw a little extra there just for you, okay? So, enjoy. Maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay? They're 5% off. God bless. Thanks. I'm gonna grab this just in case, but I highly doubt. Oh, nice. That's one of them scribe snuffer fingers there, huh? One dab of those little guys and you'll be like, woo, know what I mean? They're pretty popular, but I got my connections, they got their connections, and they got their connections, and they got plenty more of those. So just come and see me and Dad here later on. We gotta have one back in stock. I'm grabbing that just in case. I don't think I'm gonna use it. Must be your lucky day here. I don't know what, Dad. It seeks me. Thank you for visiting on such short notice, Reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. So let me be blunt. Please listen for a moment, then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end. All of it. I sense the binds that formed the rites becoming weak. Which means soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still, my services will not be of any further use. I would love to tell you that this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some of my Beyonders, it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those which have bound me. They shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. She hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it shall be. By that I mean, take this tome prison of mine and keep it. Do not just leave it as all your predecessors have, each time their stay among the Nightwings reached an end. Soon the Beyonder Crystal shall serve no use at all except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I would prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, Reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company to an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain in years and to eventually decay whilst I remain unchanging. But I should rather have more years whilst having contact. Even if those years are to be brief, they shall afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit for your own sake. May all this right business enrich your coming days somehow. And in considering that life after this night, if you think there may be a place in it for me, however small, then once again I simply ask that you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again sometime, you could. And I would like to have that as an option more than not. My request here is a selfish one, for there is little I can offer in exchange, other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep once in a while. Who knows, you could always try to sell the Beyonder Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then you have heard my sad little proposition, what do you say? No, you can come with me. Oh, what else do I got to do in this underground, in this, downside, not underground. What else do I got to do in this downside? You grasp the Beyonder Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound as though surprised. Thank you, Reader. She is at a loss for a moment, then. Let us go, then, from this place. Go and face your last remaining adversaries. May you crush them May you crush them under heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. She disappears into the stone for now. I took the Beyonder Crystal with me, and I keep it with me. Excellent job, us. Let's do it. We commence the final liberation. You have gained the summit of Mount Elodial for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rite. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far. Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well this night and always. Go forth with glory. Then he looks up and he extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. Then, you see Tizo has joined you. All of your companions are there with him, in fact. Tizo wants you to know he has the utmost faith in you. Reading one. Thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of that kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader. It has truly been a pleasure. Onward now. Let us achieve our plan. Look upon your fellow exiles, your companions, with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs after this night. The outcome of Volfred's plan, the plan of which you all have been a part, shall be decided one way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversary so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. The final liberation rite of this age shall now commence. Nope. Don't need it.
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time. For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be.
But you know what?
The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down.
I'll bite you.
The exiles whom you liberated all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves. Each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
I'll bite you. I swear to God. Archduke Androbles. Oh no, Archbishop Androbles. The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirs is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as per the custom, not another word. The demon Orlek slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this, my freedom once stolen from me. Then I was cheated of it here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. Why'd they have to make him hot? He stands there for a moment, silent. Then Orlek dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damned rites cease forever for the misery which they caused. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus, I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one whom you anoint, or else the exile Orlek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the star's remaining light grows dim. Your decision, please. It is time now to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside to the end of your days. One by one, you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Tizo, Bertrude, Wilfred. Your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Are you prepared to choose this one last time? Yeah, I have to. With but a glance, you assure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad
I want to see Orlek's bio.
for the rest of you.
Here's Sara, Leap Silence, Demon Physical, Honoriel. I can't anoint any of them. This sucks. This sucks so bad. I feel it should be Bertrude. She's been here 21 years. I'm gonna do Bertrude. We have no fondness for the Commonwealth, though. Should we return unto that realm, we shall endeavor to transform it in accordance with our plan. Your choice is cast. As for your other companions, you sense a clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Bertrude as well as you.
Who shall be at her side?
Tiza is ready to do whatever it takes to see Bertrude regain her freedom this night.
Volfred.
Assuredly, my kin. Besides, we stand against Orlek. It is fitting that I should have to confront him myself.
Predictably decided.
Those are to be my adversaries, then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts their will over that group? You sense Orlek searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you who would relinquish your own liberty for sake of them. Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you. Then Orlek stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. By light of dawn, the cycle of the rites shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tariq? I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let us make sure of it. There's nothing blocking the grounds either. Tizo? Tizo fumbles with his mask. Tizo recognizes Orlek and greets him tentatively. It is good to see you. Orlek reaches for his mask in turn. How is the horn mended? Tizo indicates his horn has not bothered him for a long time now, and thanks Orlek for it. Good. A full recovery, then. But it is unfortunate to see you standing there with them, Tizo. Come with us, no questions asked. The proposition seems to catch Tizo off guard. Tizo indicates that he will not abandon his friends or their quest. He seems to be pleading with Orlek to stand down, to listen, to not give in to anger. But Orlek shakes his head. He puts his mask back on. This is something I must do, little one. Tizo dons his mask in turn. He chirps nothing more.
Begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
You are the Raymond's once again. I could not simply stand by and do nothing, Orlek. Yet that is what you did. When last we stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell. You simply stood. Orlek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal? Orlek seems to consider the question, but only for a moment. Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan? To bring about a better Commonwealth? No. I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then I'm sorry, Orlek. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom, and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned, Wolfred. Let us stand as adversaries then. The sky rains ash, soon shall your pyre zone mingle with them. Just then, the skies above begin to rain down fire, the final throes of the cycle of the rites and the ending of the age. Can I please just do this? What is that? I'll just hop. I'll just run. You wanna explode me? You wanna explode me? My boy Pizzo will be so fast. I have to calm down. It's a video game. So the false Nightwings bear their fangs at last, but that cannot be your finest effort. You think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you.
How he has changed, that relic. Grown old and bitter all these many years. Be gone now, Orlek. How very sad for the true Nightwing. How utterly brazen.
For the true Nightwing, I'll bite you. Orlek stands breathing heavily. He looks back on the thin lick of flame that is his smoldering pyre before turning his attention back to your triumvirate.
And there it is.
I should have let Orlek go. I should have let him do it, and I even had that thought
Proved their worth.
for like 2 whole seconds.
For their adversaries,
Honestly, even longer than that. I was like, one, it'd be
thus ends the
poetic
liberation rite.
that we just let him go when he finally gets his freedom.
The scribes have chosen.
I don't know. This game's gonna haunt me for a minute. A foreseeable outcome and the one which we desired. You look upon Bertrude for what you expect shall be the last time you see each other. Any moment now the shimmer pool shall engulf her. Any moment now she shall return to glory and join with Wolfred's agents in the Commonwealth to help achieve the plan. Any moment now the cycle of the rites shall end until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Nope, there's no
And
shimmer pool.
thus, the scribes have chosen.
We're all here.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you
Have we
done?
perhaps changed the world? A fortunate result now coupled with an inauspicious turn. Each prior time upon the full of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened, following the liberation rite, and taken in whichever exile prevailed, but now all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlek approaches, his head bowed. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery for last. Then something else catches his notice. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again, different somehow, but open. Bertrude looks upon it, but it does not engulf her, or at least not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes, this is not their greatest treachery. It is their greatest chest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom. Orlek strides towards the Shimmer Pool, but... Halt, Orlek. Orlek glances over at the lone minstrel almost in surprise. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside, and you shall surely drown. Of that, I can assure you. He laughs to himself at this. Then we have all been cheated. No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed, and one of you may still return as planned. But as for who returns, someone shall have to choose. Ere the last light of the stars is extinguished and the rites cease to be. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes, then. Our confrontation. The liberation rite. It was all meaningless. No. The victor of the confrontation is to be the one to make the choice among those closest to the scribes. Either the anointed, or they who anointed them. Then we may still return, although perhaps the reading one may leave this place instead. Aye, it shall be either you, the reader, or... It shall be either or. Gertrude, please make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. We mislike having to rush unnecessarily, and yet we are decided here in this. No! We believe it ought to be the reading one which shall return. Go now from this place. Gertrude wishes to give up her freedom so that you may gain yours. Very well. Reader, the choice which Gertrude made, or rather the choice which she gave, it is now yours to make instead. This choice, it may keep bouncing back and forth like this. Absurd. And may until such time as one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the trial, and I fear that there is little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companion are too cordial with each other to one of you, then I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought be more than some flirtatious trifle to exchange. Reader, what is your will? Oh, I'm gonna throw myself off a bridge! Oralek, you get to go. Your thoughts, Crystal Egg. You have chosen Oralek. What? Oralek, do you accept the reader's choice, or shall you make another? No, I shall not make another. I accept the reader's choice, the reader's mercy. Then it is done. For a moment. I'm sorry, Gertrude, although I suspect that she's fine with it because she gave me the choice. For a moment, Oralek appears to be at peace, and then he is gone. Accept this, for it is done.
Godspeed, Oralek. By the scribes. No stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
I row up. Not really. Set. That night, the exile Oralek returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded, and the cycle of the rites had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in great upheaval. Spurred by the efforts of 6 liberated exiles, Wilfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. The people surged into the streets, shoulder to shoulder. Led by the 6 exiles, their voices shook the heavens. The leadership of the Commonwealth panicked. No blood was shed that night, and by dawn it was over. The leaders of the Commonwealth had cast themselves back into exile or joined in this new cause. Thus, in its 838th year, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Saharian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today, we still remember all of this, and we remember the exiles of the downside whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. I got feelings. I got big feelings. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles of the Nightwings who remained in the downside continued to make use of the Black Wagons as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that, when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. I'm gonna have to do so much reading. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather, that the visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bogs offer still another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwing who claim to have seen this apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly, Sandra has appeared before you, as well you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense, I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She is referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing when next they are at it. Though they shall never know even the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the complete account of what happened to her. Reassure her. You suggest to Sandra that the account of what occurred to her was really not that bad, and that you liked aspects of it. You are much too diplomatic, you know that? You can tell she is unswayed, and yet her grin remains intact. She appreciates the gesture. Anyway, let us keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it. That is what matters. She fades into the Beyonder Crystal for now, and you tuck it away safe. Oh my gosh, so many. And I get to learn of these boys. Oh, excellent. What happened to Sir Deluge? I have to do so much reading. I'm so tired. All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles, wrapped up in the ancient test, were crestfallen as their last chances to return to their homes vanished along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind. For this outcome meant that, at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Wyrm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Dalbert's gonna make me frickin' cry. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance of freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Almer Oldheart's grasp. Thus, they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Jomir Valley. There, they struggled to get by, as the exiles of the downside tend to do. Sometime after the rites had ended, the Old Heart at last heard news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down along with his son. Dalbert Oldheart passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. In his final days, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almer never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so, after a period of mourning, Almer began a new journey. Not a day went by that Almer Oldheart did not think about his father, and give thanks to him, and speak to him at morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert's would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him and his kin. Stop it. Stop hurting me. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted, rather forcefully, that any evening now the stars would shine for him again and mark the way toward his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him, and after that, the exile known as Lendl the Liar was never seen again. However, there have since been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's cruel countenance, suggesting he yet lives. Barker Ashpaws never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling. So when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the Descendants, proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Jumir Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started to take an interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaws some healthy competition. His old feud with Rookie Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amidst his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time, or more, was often debated by those who watched him work. Udmilda. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Udmilda returned to the Flagging Hands region, where she sealed herself within the Pit of Malith. There, even her fellow exiles of the Withdrawn allegedly grew unnerved after a time and left her to her vile work. Sometime later, the Pit of Malith erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that it could be seen all the way from Jumir Valley. Arson was suspected, but the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee. A tempest blowing from the north finally quenched the flames. When at last the ashes settled and the grounds had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of Witch Udmilda could be found. As for the contents of the Pit of Malith, which notably included a profane object thought to be the remains of Yislak, all of it was gone as well. Back in the Saharian Union, which is our nation, formed in 839 AS after the fall of the Commonwealth. One day, we all may stand shoulder to shoulder with a common cause, Fulford Sandalwood. Back in the Saharian Union, Udmilda's repeated threats of the return of Yislak were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Girly pouch. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Thayan was motivated by a single goal: to return to the Commonwealth and exact revenge on her ancient enemies. When she realized the rites had ended and that she would never see her mountain home again, she nonetheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after their liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defenses and revealed to the Highwing remnants the opportunity for a risky but potentially impactful strike. As Tamitha could not participate in the assault, she learned what happened well after the outcome. On that night, known as the Scribe's Return, which is inspired by the liberated exiles, the people of the Commonwealth demanded new leadership. "Cast yourselves down! Cast yourselves down!" chant from the Scribe's Return. The Commonwealth had fallen. The Highwing remnants had thus prevailed at last, without even having to fight. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha learned her blood sister Pamitha was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamitha was very skeptical of this, but as similar reports kept mounting, she soon accepted the prevailing opinion, however begrudgingly. Once, a messenger imp arrived bearing some sort of message, seemingly from Pamitha. However, Tamitha turned it away. She would not give in to an impulse to forgive. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the crags of Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness. My boy! When Manly Tinderstuff realized the rites had ended and that he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through this ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger imp, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an imp raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderself bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of Black Basin to Cinderroot. There he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Once it I just flew water. This is fine. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Tempest to call it quits. But first, he and the Tempest decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside, the exiles parted amicably, and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curlyhorns and what became of her. Though his glory days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time. Yeah, let's go learn about my boys! My boys now! My boys! Oh wait, hold on, let's learn about Celeste and Tariq. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Elodial with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saharian Union and merely were imbued with weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, where it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. Oh my god, my boy Rod! I love this ring here implying they could have been liberated. With the rites drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave it to one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saharian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saharian Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrudes and found a distribution... He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrudes and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in the Saharian Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. Alright. Oh, I'm gonna save Tizo for last. I love you, Tizo. So cute. Okay. Let's learn about Hedwyn! After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital to the outcome of the plan. The peaceful outcome of the scribe's return was attributed to several key factors. One of them was the underlying ambition of the plan itself. Another was Hedwyn's visibility among the people in the streets. Identified to be a liberated exile, he was believed to be Gol-Golathanian reborn. More importantly, however, was that one of the winged harps of the High Wing remnants accompanied him. She was later identified as Fikani Shang. Oh, this girl! A harp for whom Hedwyn cared deeply. They were separated when Hedwyn was exiled. They got back together! I'm dying. Their bond was symbolic of what was... My dog? No, my dog's still asleep. Their bond was symbolic of what was at stake that night and proved vital to the police. Proved vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as a leader in the Saharian Union, Hedwyn oft confided in his friend Jodariel. Oh my god! Sorry, I got so excited. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Jodariel, Rookie Greentail, and the Reader of the Nightwings that they might all be free again, together. You, the reader, you are an exile of the Commonwealth sentenced to life in the downside. Once merely the status of a deviant, yet now a revered title in the Saharian Union. He had broken that vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over this darkened his mood for a time. However, the others whom he still knew lifted his spirits, much like he had often lifted theirs. All of the Nightwings knew the stakes. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact, thus Hedwyn thought of each of them often, and so in turn did they oft think of him. Let's learn about my voice third date. No, let's learn about Rhea. It's been so long. The Commonwealth had never provided a sense of home for the one they had called Rhea the Wretched, so she was surprised on her return that she was so well treated. She felt uneasy about it, and besides, she knew that she would do her best to fulfill the pledge she had made to her friends. Even she could not have expected the impact she would have on the events that followed, which gave rise to the Saharian Union. Despite not fitting the image of any of the 8 scribes, Rhea nonetheless stood out alongside the others amid the teeming masses on the night of the scribes' return. She spoke of the scribes with such conviction and sincerity that the crowd was very moved. After the fall of the Commonwealth, there was a renewed interest in the legend of the 8 scribes and many new interpretations of their histories and teachings. Rhea found herself at the center of all of this. Her way of speaking continued to compel a growing audience. She swayed many people from their astralist beliefs. Astralist? Ah. Okay. Astralist is a theocratic sect believing divine authority rests with the stars. They alone dictate the future. We all return as stars, so much brighter should we live with glory. Soon, the 8th word, which is the theocratic sect believing that the 8 scribes were more than mortal and their words divine. Surely the book created by the scribes was more than a fable, but a genuine artifact, though perhaps lost to time. Soon, the 8th word, which had lost favor with the people during the reign of the Commonwealth, sought her out and asked her to formally join, and she did right away. Through it all, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by a great distance, he always remained in her heart. She cited her relationship with Jodariel as the single most important in her life. Jodariel would always provide for her a circumspect perspective and the wisdom of experience. Rhea always was devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Many people in the Saharian Union cited that her gentle manner and unwavering conviction helped them brave the changing times with courage and grace. Oh, let's learn about. Oh, who do I want to learn about? Who do I want to learn about? Okay, let's learn about... Let's learn about Volfred next, okay. When the cycle of the right ceased turning, Volfred Sandalwood turned toward the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do at this stage of his plan. He aspired to assemble with liberated exiles representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the rites ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit, yet the plan did have contingencies. Fortunately, most of those contingencies did not prove necessary. Word reached him that, on the night of the scribe's return, his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together and their voices echoed through the streets. Those former exiles who ought to have disappeared into the ranks of the Commonwealth's own leadership now stood united with its people who poured from their homes in solidarity. It was imperative to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature. An overwhelming show of popular support would be more than enough. I have to find where my voice needs to sit, so I stop wrecking my vocal cords. It's fine. Ensuring this was his priority, and in the end, the result was self-evident. The plan's goal had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that, as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Saharian Union. Of course, being stranded in the downside meant that there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience its triumphs and its struggles in some vicarious way. So he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread throughout the Saharian Union, so too did exiles of the downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped to teach as many as he could. More than that, he provided the material to read a semi-annual report about the latest events both in the Saharian Union and the downside. This periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to. One of his allies in this was the imp Tiso, with whom he traveled all across the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tiso as the wellspring of his own enthusiasm for a brighter future, such was the creature's spirit. He welcomed the company of the reader of the Nightwings at every opportunity and counted them a trusted friend and a keen editor. He was pleased to hear that his one-time friend, Orelech, had once more become a productive part of society, yet he spoke little of their time together. As Volfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout this land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about two things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles of the Nightwings who had stood with him each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Saharian Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it is said that he was moved to tears then by the gesture. It is since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. Oh please, I'm so close. Let's learn about Sir Deluge. When the Worm Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom. His honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain on the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make use of his military training. Thankfully, however, the scribe's return ended peaceably. Gilman was on edge throughout the night, expecting violence to erupt at any moment. But the moment never came. When the matter was at last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Yeah, Rip, so you get out of the room? Okay, hold on. We freed the dog. I can't remember if I read this line or not, so we'll read it again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for having studied under the reader of the Nightwings, without whom he would never have completed his penance. Because of this, and perhaps because they were on opposite sides of the world now, Gilman dedicated his life to them. By that point, he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership was his first step toward gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. Right. That's super true. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps then even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. He had made clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal led only to a deeper understanding between them. By and large, Bertrude kept focus on her work. Whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans, the work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more the living legend.
Oh, please, I'm almost there. Let's do Tamitha.
After regaining her freedom, Pamitha Thayan found herself in a difficult position. Having once betrayed her people of the Highwing Remnants, she knew that she would not be welcome in her native home. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Volfred Sandalwood's agents who were busy doing their part to fulfill the plan. As it turned out, the plan was a success. Pamitha Thayan stood shoulder to shoulder with her other fellow former exiles, and truly they were a sight to behold. A disturbing rumor later spread that night, the Highwing Remnants were slated to mount an assault, which, for some reason, never came to pass. Pamitha denied any knowledge or involvement. Afterward, Pamitha played an active part in negotiating terms between the Highwing Remnants and the new nation that would become our Saharian Union. Her previous attempt at something of the sort led to her exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time around. Sometime later, Pamitha had an unexpected run-in with Rookie Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time while traveling with the Nightwings. Under these new set of circumstances, it turned out the two had more to talk about, and rather more in common. They would often put to test which one was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Pamitha received an invitation to return to the Highwing Remnants, where she was to be fully pardoned. She held out a hope that she might see her blood sister Tamitha there, knowing full well that Tamitha did not regain her freedom. Tamitha did later learn that Pamitha was welcomed back by their people. However, she never responded to her blood sister's attempts to contact her. Pamitha, in turn, did not expect to get forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out. She said to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Later, when asked, Pamitha Thayan admitted she felt as though she had no home to call her own. This was during an interview conducted amid an extensive trip abroad, for she had traveled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Saharian Union. Pamitha continued to journey thus, citing that it reminded her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given into his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Volfred Sandalwood's revolutionary forces as he promised. On the night of the scribe's return, Greentail was there with the others, inspiring the masses. He never looked prouder, the very image of Jomir Manymane himself. When dawn finally came and it became clear that the Commonwealth that everybody knew would be no more, he realized many new opportunities awaited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against speaking light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was as well off as he always said. One of his orders of business was to seek out one of his old companions, Pamitha Thayan, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. He also kept in close touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close to the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words from sometimes. I'll do Jodariel, and then Tiso, and then Orlek. After her liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saharian Union. Her horns and stern countenance inspired the people to believe that she was solely a Muir reborn. She became a great, if reluctant, leader. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many, many times. She kept an eye on Ray, who nonetheless demonstrated a surprising knack to get by on her own, though Jodariel was always willing to provide assistance just in case. She never settled down with anyone, although from time to time, she thought about Ignarius despite herself. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part. Tizo. Once the rites had ended, the imp Tizo had a job to do, quite unlike most exiles trapped forever in the downside. The lone minstrel asked that he watch over the Black Wagon, which the Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter all throughout their quest. Tizo obliged, for he knew that wagon, as well as its drive-in inhabitants, perhaps better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified as evidence of Tizo's thorough work. After that, he liked to while away his days with any of his friends, or else with fellow imps. Sandalwood sometimes called for his assistance, and Tizo was always happy to oblige. The two would often reminisce about their times with the lone minstrel. He often chirped about the Reader of the Nightwings, with whom he built quite a rapport. The Reader understood him perhaps better than anyone. Indeed, Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time with the Nightwings and their many adventures throughout the land that was always his home. Other than that, Tizo would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps relaying news to and from the Saharian Union. Despite having gained significant celebrity abroad, he would never let it go to his head, and he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace at every single chance he got. Only one left! In the aftermath of the final liberation rite, Orlek at last returned to his nation, what he had not seen in nearly 2 decades. He scarce recognized it. After all, it was in the midst of transformation, a social and cultural upheaval sparked by Volfred Sandalwood's plan. When Orlek witnessed the people of the Commonwealth standing shoulder to shoulder and chanting together on the night of the scribe's return, he looked on in silence for a time. Then, he stepped toward the crowd. A murmur and hush moved through the gathered citizens at the sight of him, for they had never seen someone thus changed by the downside. As it Jodariel? No, I get it. You know, he's been there longer, but it is just like one of those, like, we just learned about how they cheered Jodariel as the, you know, Soliamir reborn. That's a little funny. But then Orlek raised his voice with theirs, and they all stood united once again. Yes, baby! History would know him as the Demon Doctor, a term of endearment that stuck even after his horns started to recede. He lent his skill and service throughout the birth of the Saharian Union. The one he had called the Shadow of the False Nightwings was someone whom he thought of often. He knew he owed his freedom to them. Having witnessed the aftermath of Sandalwood's plan, Orlek understood at last what his former companion wanted. Years ago, they conceived a version of this plan. Now, Orlek found he wished Sandalwood could be present to witness the reality of it. Alone with his thoughts, Orlek would sometimes visit the memorial to the fallen leaders of the Commonwealth. Though, other than such appearances, and notwithstanding his duties as master physician of the state, Orlek led a very private life. Few would have guessed that he was once one of the most accomplished rites conductors in the history of the Nightwings. History, of course, shall ensure we not forget. And thus, we go. There is one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of them. However, some accounts of them begin to paint a picture. We know they were of common birth, always directionless and prone to misremembering at times. The journey to the downside left them close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found them. They brought them from the brink. They showed them the path. They pressed onward with the others. They had made a vow to help their friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, they remained in exile. From that point on, accounts of them diverge. It is said the voice which troubled them they never heard again. Some say they helped improve the lives of other downside exiles, though whether that is true, only they know. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived.
is it? All of my friends in the stars? Oh, I love this game so much. That's gonna be Headwind. Then we're going into Joe Dario. We're just gonna enjoy this together. You and me, we're just gonna sit. But this was Pyre. I hope you all had a good time. I know I had to take a break in the middle of it, but you know, I'm hoping to get back to regular posting. Yeah.
And strode the path that his heart laid before him.
Oh, look, is this us on our wagon?
Has found his
It's
way
all of us.
home.
Oh, there's Ricky popping up.
Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling.
Yeah, we're just gonna listen. This is good. I'm not sure what's gonna come out next, but I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed Pyre, because this is maybe. I know Hades is the big hullabaloo right now. But Pyre is probably my favorite Supergiant game. I have Transistor on my list too, so that'll make an appearance at some point. Anyway, thank you all for sticking around. I'll see you in the next game.
They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. The moon-touched girl hears the scribes in the world all around her. They have guided her home.
Tears all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the Night Wings. He remained to the end.
Sir Gilman the Bold, ever in his quest, finding honor and glory, he has found his way home. Pameth the Thane, having pleased the scribe, seeking only forgiveness, she has found her way home. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Bound together, spirits tether, strands unbroken, scribes awoken.
The great mastermind, Wolfred Sandalwood, saw his plans turn to action. He remained till the end. The bog dweller Bertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end. The reader at last made the Night Wings whole, having bound them together. They remained till the end. They follow the stars, bound together,
to the stars, we shall find a way home. We shall